The movie starts in Antarctica. Scientists have been striving for years to prove that there are other beings in the universe. Then, in 1982, a breakthrough occurred when a Norwegian research group found something that might alter history. To delve deeper into this, Dr. Sander Halvorsen and his aide Adam Finch invited Kate Lloyd, a specialist in ancient life forms, to be part of their Norwegian science team. The Thule research station, found in Antarctica, has recently stumbled upon a strange structure and a specimen. DRS emphasizes the critical need for a paleontologist who can retrieve specimens from the large ice block, leading them to recruit a scientist named Kate Lloyd. Even though she doesn't have enough details about the study, Kate agrees to be part of the team. The following day, they board the H-3C King helicopter to make their way to Antarctica and the research facility. Upon their arrival at the Thule station, they immediately proceed to the site of their scientific investigation. The newly joined scientists are introduced to Edward Wool, the lead scientist of the Discovery, who is accompanied by the geologists Carl and Juliet. The team leads them on a journey towards the unearthed formation. In no time, the group of scientists find themselves gazing upon the remnants of an extraterrestrial spacecraft concealed beneath the icy expanses of Antarctica. The sight is nothing short of breathtaking. After that, they return to the surface and observe the frozen remains of a being that seems to have lived through the crash of 100,000 years ago. Later in the evening, Kate talks about the plans to transport the unidentified creature with the rest of the Norwegian scientists. She also meets with the team and makes an effort to remember their names, which include Peter and then Lars, who doesn't comprehend English, along with his pet dog. The following day, a few team members dig out the frozen body and bring it back to the Thule station. As the team is engrossed in examining it, Dr. Sander and Edvard walk into the room where Dr. Sander insists on extracting a tissue sample from the creature encased in ice. Kate attempts to argue against the suitability of the plan, but Dr. Sander simply dismisses her and later instructs her not to challenge him in front of their team in the future. To obtain a tiny sample from the creature, they employ a drill bit to penetrate the dense ice block, lightly touching the creature's body. That evening, while everyone is unwinding in the common room, Dr. Sander walks in and requests everyone's focus. He declares the potential for a significant discovery, stating that he has never encountered an organism with the same cell structure as the one they found. The team starts to rejoice over the exciting news, while the rest are engaged in conversation or enjoying a drink. Derek, the co-pilot, decides to inspect the room where the creature is stored. As he leans in for a closer examination, Peter walks in and startles him. Derek is taken aback, and just as he's preparing to join Peter outside, the mysterious entity breaks free from the ice block. He dashes off to warn everyone about the situation, but initially no one appears to take him seriously. However, seeing his alarmed state, they all hurry to the room and discover the ice block broken apart. The team agrees to divide into smaller groups to locate the entity. While they are outdoors, a few scientists discover that Lars's dog appears to have been attacked, presumably by the entity. At the same time, Olaf and Henrik manage to locate it hiding under one of the houses. As Henrik begins to yell, the entity pierces him from behind with its tentacle and draws him into its form, splattering blood on Olaf's face. Hearing Olaf's desperate calls for assistance, the rest of the team rushes to the location. Some of the men attempt to shoot the entity, but it continues to resist. They finally decide to set the house ablaze, ultimately incinerating the entity. Despite the horrifying incident, the team is compelled to proceed with their research. A handful of team members, including Kate and Adam, perform an examination of the creature's remnants. Afterwards, the findings lead them to realize that the entity's cells are taking in and copying Henrik's cells. Kate leaves the lab shortly and encounters other team members in the corridor. Carter, Derek, and Griggs are getting ready to fly Olaf to a healthcare center in a helicopter, appearing to be shaken by the incident. As the men are about to depart, Kate stumbles upon thrown away metal dental fillings and a large quantity of blood in the shower. Worried that the entity might have infected or copied someone on the helicopter, she rushes outside to signal the leaving helicopter. Just as Carter decides to touch down, Griggs morphs into the entity and takes on Olaf's form. This leads the helicopter to lose control, crash into the mountains, and likely end the lives of all passengers. Back at the base, the team frantically attempts to reach out for help through the emergency channel, but the radio fails to pick up any signal. This further complicates the already problematic situation at the base, particularly with the storm approaching. The situation takes a turn for the worst when Kate finds out that the shower has been cleaned. So when Edvard orders some men to move to the nearest base, Kate courageously opposes his order. She suggests that it might not be a wise decision given their uncertainty about what they're dealing with. To get her point across, Kate shares with everyone what she and Adam found out: the creature's skill to duplicate any living thing. Kate shows the tooth fillings as evidence, clarifying that the mysterious entity spat them out, as it couldn't copy non-living materials. Most of the team Members appear to find Kate's disclosure absurd. Edvard quickly ends the discussion and instructs everyone to carry on as planned. As soon as everyone exits the room, Juliet comes up to Kate, indicating that she trusts her. In fact, Juliet has witnessed Colin exiting the shower with a towel in his hand in a bid to prevent others from leaving. Juliet guides Kate to a room where the keys to the snowcat are stashed away. As Kate attempts to get the keys, Juliet morphs into the terrifying entity and begins to attack her from behind. Kate makes a dash for the exit, running past Carl in the corridor. However, Carl is too slow to respond until the entity finally reaches him. With no means to destroy the creature, Kate can only stand by as it leaps onto Carl. Fortunately, the others hear the noise and rush to her aid. Lars arrives with a flamethrower and uses it to set the entity ablaze. Subsequently, the remaining team members assemble outside to incinerate at the remnants of the still unidentified creature. They begin to discuss how to tackle the current crisis and eventually agree to isolate themselves until the danger is over. Dr. Sander and Adam step forward to collect and examine everyone's blood samples, while Lars and Kate set out to immobilize all the vehicles. Then Lars reveals to Kate a box filled with grenades. Just after Lars and Kate complete their task, 2 survivors from the plane crash, Carter and Derek, stumble back to the base, suspecting that they might be contaminated. Some team members want to incinerate them immediately, but Kate argues to confine them in isolation first until they can conduct some tests on them in the lab. Adam and Dr. Sander get ready for the test. However, when they both step out for a brief moment, the lab erupts in fire, suggesting foul play. After they extinguish the fire, the room becomes tense as they start pointing fingers at each other, leading Kate to suggest a much simpler test. She explains that they might be able to determine who is who by checking everyone's dental fillings. Remember, the entity or the being can't copy dental fillings, so those without them could be a possible danger. Kate then starts to examine the teeth of all the team members using a flashlight to see who has fillings and who doesn't. She also shows them her own. After examining everyone's mouth, they manage to identify Adam, Dr. Sander, Edvard, and Colin. To maintain fairness, Kate also wants to inspect Carter and Derek's teeth, so she sends Lars and Jonas to fetch them back to the room. But when they reach the storage shed where the two are kept apart, Lars and Jonas discovered a hole in the floor and realize they must have moved to the next building. Lars attempts to track them, but as he approaches the spot, he is quickly drawn inside. Jonas comes back to the group and pleads with Peter to help him save Lars. However, Kate firmly instructs Peter to stay on guard and keep watch over the identified possible threats, while the rest of the members continue to bicker and blame each other. Carter and Derek forcefully enter the building carrying Lars's gun and flamethrower, believing that the two have murdered Lars. Edward orders Peter to set them on fire. Peter is conflicted about what to do, but he eventually chooses to point the flamethrower at the two to protect themselves. Derek shoots Peter. This action pierces Peter's fuel tank, leading to an explosion that renders Edvard unconscious. As he is being taken back to the recreation room, Edvard wakes up and shockingly morphs into the thing. Unconscious of the abrupt transformation, Jonas is swiftly infected by Edward's deformed arm. As the situation descends into chaos, Dr. Sander and Colin selfishly escape from the room while the rest try to restrain the thing. Regrettably, the flamethrower in Carter's possession fails, and their delayed reaction to the crisis results in Derek being assaulted simultaneously. It enables Edod to absorb Adam's body and flee. Meanwhile, Kate gathers the infected team members. She quickly joins forces with Carter and they set off together to track down the thing, which has now assumed the appearance of both Edward and Adam's faces. However, after the beast assaults Dr. Sander, it also succeeds in separating Carter from Kate and confines the former in the kitchen. Fortunately, Kate is able to locate them promptly and begins to set the monster on fire. Just as it is about to contaminate Carter once more, Kate and Carter step outside to incinerate the remains of the thing. Afterwards, they notice an infected Dr. Sander speeding away in one of the snowcats. The two have a brief disagreement about whether to pursue Dr. Sander or not, but Kate decisively tells Carter that they need to prevent him from creating more chaos. Before departing the station, Kate collects grenades and other necessary items. Shortly thereafter, they locate the snowcat at the site of the unearthed spaceship. As they descend, they observe that the alien ship is rebooting and gradually getting ready for liftoff. The two sprint to avoid the opening parts of the ship, but Kate stumbles into the spaceship, once again separating her from Carter. Kate starts looking for the thing inside the huge ship until she stumbles upon it once more. Unable to confront it directly, she escapes to a tight spot where the thing can't follow. After some time, Carter discovers the thing about to consume Kate. After dragging her out of the tight spot, however, Kate manages to toss a grenade into the creature's mouth successfully. They then swiftly flee from the location, distancing themselves from the blast. At last, Carter and Kate manage to return to the snowcat safely, but but as they get ready to depart, Kate challenges Carter, revealing that she's aware he's not human anymore. She mentions that when he came back to their headquarters after the helicopter went down, she spotted his earring. In an attempt to prove Kate wrong, Carter reaches for his ear, but he touches is the right one instead of the left. Without wasting a moment, Kate sets Carter on fire, making him scream just like the thing next. Kate determinedly climbs onto another snowcat and she disappears without a trace. The following morning, a Norwegian helicopter pilot named Matthias reaches the Norwegian camp to find it completely destroyed. After examining the remnants of the two-faced thing, he calls out in search of any survivors left. As the movie ends, it is shown that Colin, after escaping from the recreation room, went into the radio room and cut his throat and wrist to prevent the thing from infecting him. Unexpectedly, Lars shoots at Matthias and emerges unscathed from the building where he was last seen being seized by Derek and Carter. Doubting Matthias's identity, Lars insists on checking his dental fillings. Shortly after, Lars spots his dog darting out from the wreckage and promptly shoots it, realizing it has turned into the thing. As the film concludes, the two use the helicopter to chase the dog while Matthias pilots the helicopter. Lars continues to fire, but fails to hit the dog as the thing attempts to flee. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.